Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Marie, a courage coach, creative soul, and adventure seeker. Since through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, I'm on a mission to help you embrace your most confident self so you can achieve your dreams too. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connections, join me on the quest to discovering how we can create a more magical and memorable life. Hello, nerds! How are you? Happy New Year! I am still on holiday, enjoying myself, I am sure. So I have looked into the most downloaded episodes to find the best one for you to start 2023. And the one I've found is episode number 2. It's called Free to Be Your Best Self. And the description that I had written back then is, I refuse to accept that our best self can only exist when we are on vacation. So the question this week is, how can we be our best self every day of the week and still function in the world where bills need to get paid? Okay, so I think this is gonna set you up to start the new year on the right foot. And of course, I don't expect anyone to be their best self 24/7. That's completely unrealistic. Life is 50-50. Some days are just harder than others, and there's nothing we can do about that. That being said, though, there are ways for you to connect to the person that you are when you are traveling, when you are taking time off more regularly, and that isn't just good for everyone around you. It's mostly good for you because you feel so much better in your skin, in your mind, when you can be this version of you who's living fully, who's in the present, who's, not stuck in their head worrying. So this episode is going to help you connect with that part of you. And yeah, next week, I'm going to be back with a new episode. It's going to be episode number 100. I just shouted at a microphone. Episode number 100. I am so proud of myself for showing up. I'm so thankful to all of you for showing up week after week. Some of you have been there from the very beginning, and we're at 950 listeners per week. And wouldn't it be amazing if we were at 1,000 listeners for the 100, how do you say that, episode? I love numbers, and it would be amazing, 1,000 for the 100th episode. So if you could share this podcast, if you've been a listener and you've grown from listening to this, if you've laughed, you've smiled, you've learned something, share it with a friend. We just need 50 new people to join us to get my, let's call it my Christmas gift, 1,000 people for the 100th episode. Okay, send it to your friends. And oh yes, before we jump into today's episode, I want to remind you that you can still download my end of year journal. It's called the Doodler's End of Year Journal to reflect on 2022 and get ready for 2023 in the most playful way. There's lots of different topics, like your most memorable moments, the new things that you have tried, the people that you've hung out with, what you've watched, like the best movies, the best series, the books, how you felt, like the people that moved you this year, the people that you want to thank. There's a bunch of different things, and it looks super, super cute with lots of little drawings, and you're going to get to color it in, get creative. If you have kids that are like around 10 years old and up, you can do it with them. Like, I made it so that it could be fun to do with someone else and that kids could also understand. So I definitely encourage you to go download it at selfgrowthnerds.com. It's on my homepage. You just scroll down, you're going to see it right there. The Doodler's End of Year Journal. You just enter your name, enter your email address, and you're going to get it straight to your inbox. You get to print it out and fill it in and have fun. Okay, I'm going to talk to you next week for a new episode, but for now, let's give it up for Marie from the past. This week, I want to talk about freedom. what I thought it was for the longest time, and how I look at it now. When I was a teenager, freedom was the last day of school. I could stop worrying about what people thought of my hairy legs in gym class and stop feeling like a loser for not knowing what to say when the cool dude sitting in front of me in class would turn around and tell me a joke that wasn't even funny. Summer meant I was going to summer camp for 2 weeks. The 2 weeks out of the year where I could go to a place where no one knew me and I could reinvent myself. Fast forward 10-ish years later, I finished my first degree in television and spent the summer interning as an assistant on a television show in Montreal. I was asked to stand on the street redirecting cars for hours on end and to sweep puddles of water in parking lots for a more perfect shot. Both tasks I was criticized for not doing well enough. So I tell you, I am not a good puddle sweeper. I would watch the crew waste food and disrespect people all day and come home to curl in a ball on the sofa and cry. When I moved to London at the end of that summer, freedom was sitting on the plane listening to Adele's Rolling in the Deep on repeat. I was flying away from the stupid TV show and the toxic relationship I was unable to break up. I was moving overseas to a world of new possibilities. 4 years later, I was still in London, waking up at 5 a.m. and working really hard with my partner on the mobile coffee business that we had started. Going to markets and festivals around London sounded really cool on paper, but I was secretly exhausted and we were just trying to make ends meet. Freedom at that point was the trips back home that my parents paid for me while my partner had to keep working on the business. This was a privilege for sure. And I was super grateful for those trips because they allowed me to just be and to remember that I was funny because apparently my humor didn't work so well with British people. Can you see the pattern here? Freedom to me seems to be when I am able to leave quote unquote real life behind and breathe again. So in 2019, I thru hiked the PCT and I was completely free for 6 months. The lightness of being. You know the feeling of going back to work after a vacation when you feel like you have to put your best self back into the closet along with your swimming suit? Well, imagine that feeling after being your best self for 6 whole months. Many thru hikers go through what's called post-trail depression. And yes, there's the fact that your body goes from moving 8 to 10 hours a day and being fueled by endorphins to barely moving at all. But I think it goes much deeper than that. When thru hikers say that they miss the trail, or when we feel desperate for a vacation, it's not that we miss the actual woods or the beach or the airplane food or anything else related to vacation. I think what we miss the most is being our best self. What if the longer you live in the shoes of your best self, the more painful it is to leave behind afterwards, to squash back into the closet? Many thru hikers rebel against the status quo after a thru hike to look for alternative lifestyles. Some people would say that they are entitled and privileged and irresponsible. And yes, I acknowledge that whoever has their basic needs met and has space for self-realization in their life is truly lucky. But I refuse to sign up to the idea that being a mature adult means you shut your desires down and follow the arbitrary rules of society. I refuse to accept that our best self can only exist on the weekend or when we're on vacation. Kids, before they get shaped to fit the mold or told to sit down longer that they can handle, are creative, empathetic, joyful. They are little balls of light who love people for who they are without judgment. As long as their needs are met, they are their best self. That's why I'm into ways of teaching kids that don't limit them. But it's funny how when I talk about the alternative schools that I admire, some adults will say to me, if you let kids do whatever they want, they're not going to get anything done. And I disagree. I think that laziness does not exist. To me, laziness is the result of forcing someone out of their truth, expecting them to want to be there, and criticizing them when they don't. Our best self is equivalent to our inner child. It's still in there, asking to be set free more than 2 weeks a year. If we don't set it free, our inner child doesn't just disappear. It transforms into migraines, backaches, depression. So the question is, how can we be our best self every day of the week and still function in the world where bills need to get paid? Well, I think it starts with understanding who your best self is. Think about who you are on vacation or when you're not drowning in responsibilities and worries. If you're a thru hiker, think about you on the trail. For me, my best self leads a simple life. She's part of a loving community. She has deep conversations. She feels connected to others and to herself. Her ambition moves her forward every day, and growing brings her joy. She accepts others as they are, she makes people laugh, and she loves being silly. She dreams big. So, draw the portrait of your best self in your mind, and then ask yourself how you can feel this way every day. How can you detach your best self from a specific circumstance, like a thru hike or a vacation, and just see it for what it is at its core, a state of being, feelings. This doesn't require you to quit your job or to change your whole life. I'm going to give you a small example. When I was a teenager, I was pale, I had frizzy hair, I was clumsy, uncomfortable. I secretly wanted to be a surfer. I thought if only I was a surfer, I wouldn't feel so awkward about myself. But guys, I suck at swimming. I don't even like being in the water that much. I'm more of a beach potato reading kind of person. I couldn't put two and two together, but I understood not long ago what it was about. I don't want to surf. I want to feel like what I think a surfer feels. That is, self-reliant, strong, naturally beautiful, confident in their skin, etc. I can totally take those feelings away from surfing and apply them to my bookworm life. This is mind-blowing. The possibility to focus on the feelings we want to feel instead of the circumstances that we are in. You don't have to wait for the weekend in order to feel relaxed. You can find ways to feel relaxed today. You don't have to quit your job in order to feel free. You can find ways of feeling free today. And you don't have to finish a thru hike in order to feel proud. You can find ways to feel proud today. And if you think that's too good to be true, keep listening to this podcast and I'm going to show you how to train your mind into creating any kind of feeling and choosing feelings that will change your reality for the better. It's not the other way around. It's not, I will feel good once I have my dream job, or I will feel confident once I lose the weight. You can start being your best self now, without waiting on the right circumstances. This is what freedom is. And for all the skeptics out there, I hear you. Your rational self comes in with all the limitations, trying to destroy my argument. We love doing that. We love going to court for our limitations, making sure they win so we can stay small and comfortable. But not here while we're together, not on this podcast. You can choose to believe your thoughts or to label them as optional and choose if you want to sign up to them or not. Are they limiting or are they propelling? We're free to choose the thoughts that we believe in. Remember that. That is freedom. You just listened to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. Make sure to subscribe and to find me on Instagram at Self-Growth Nerds. If you want individual help developing the confidence to create a more meaningful and exciting life, visit selfgrowthnerds.com today to learn how. Finally, I want to thank my friend Etienne Galano for editing this, and I want to thank you, kind-hearted souls, for growing into your truest, most courageous selves every day and making this world a better, more beautiful place. My name is Marie, and I will talk to you next week.